Hey, what is up, everybody? This is your boy AJTRIP, and welcome to the game according to me. This is my weekly podcast during the football season where I talk about football and also as we get into things like the NBA and the World Series and other things like that, we stop and talk about those things as well. And speaking of the NBA, that's up first. Let's take a look at the National Basketball Association after a couple weeks. Now let's go ahead and let's take a look at the NBA standings to a start in the Eastern Conference. The Milwaukee Bucks are on top of the conference at a 91 record. Uh, they was undefeated and then they lost their last one apparently. So that's incredible. But they're also 7-0 at home. So this is a big team to beat. A lot of the general managers, front office people said that the Milwaukee Bucks are going to be the team to beat this year, and they're definitely certain might. Number two, not surprisingly, at 8-2 is the Cleveland Cavaliers. Number three, the Boston Celtics, 7-3. Number four, the Atlanta Hawks, 7-3. At the five spot, the Toronto Raptors at 6-5. At six spot, the Chicago Bulls are 6-6. Seven, the New York Knicks at 5-5. In that eighth spot, the Pacers are 5-5. The Wizards are at 5-6, and the 76ers are at 5-6. So 7, 8, 9, and 10. Knicks, Pacers, Wizards, Sixers. If when we say this all the time, if the playoffs started today, those would be the playing team. The Knicks would face the Sixers, and the Pacers with the Wizards, meaning that the Brooklyn Nets at spot 11 would be out. Then the Miami Heat at 12 will be out with identical 4-7 records. The Charlotte Hornets will be out at 3-8. The Detroit Pistons, one of my surprise teams, are not playing, getting off to a really good start. They are 3-8, and the Orlando Magic, while Paulo Banchero has been masterful in his short start to his career, the Magic are only 2-9. So. Um, That was the Eastern Conference. You take a look at the Western Conference. Surprisingly, the team that seemed to have been tanking is the number one team in the conference. The Utah Jazz are 9-3. Unbelievable. Larry Markkinen, who he got from Cleveland, has been incredible. Jordan Clarkson has been, I think he's now, going from backup to starter, and he's been great. A lot of people thought, well, they traded their stars, Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell and Bogdan Bogdanovic. Um, they had to be tanking. No, not these guys. These guys decided no. We gonna we gonna win and get all your draft picks and even get better. So that's amazing. The Jazz are on top of the Western Conference in a 9-3 record. The Phoenix Suns are at 7-3. Surprisingly, the Portland Trailblazers are at 7-3. Dame Lillard bringing his team up from out of the ground. Another team you thought would maybe have to, you know, be in the background. Maybe they might make a playing spot. Maybe they won't. But right now, they're the third seed. The Nuggets are the fourth seed. The Dallas Mavericks are the fifth seed with a 6-3 record. Luka Doncic has been going on an incredible streak, and then let's see really quickly what he's done um, recently. I believe, right? Yeah. So if you look at, it says he's got like he has started the season with 10 consecutive 30-point or more games. Unreal. 36 against Brooklyn on the 7th, 35 against Toronto on the 4th, 33 against Utah on the 2nd, 44 against Orlando on the 30th of October, 31 on the 29th of October against Oklahoma City, 41 on October 27th against Brooklyn, 37 against October 25th against the New Orleans Pelicans, 32 against Memphis, October 22nd against against Memphis, and then 35 to start the season against Phoenix. So it is just he just started the season incredible. Very much looking forward to his first MVP season. So incredible start to the year for Luka Doncic. Number 6 seed is the Memphis Grizzlies at 7-4. Number 7 seed, the Los Angeles Clippers are at 6-5. The 8 seed, the Pelicans at 5-5. Number 9, those doggone Spurs at 5-6. Popovich is just going to coach his ass off like he always does, right? Number 10 is the Minnesota Timberwolves at 5-6. So again, during the whole if the playoffs started today stuff, the Clippers, the Pelicans, the Spurs, and the Timberwolves would be the play-in games. Who would be out? Well, the 11th ranked seed, Oklahoma City Thunder, the defending world champion Golden State Warriors are at 4-7. They've lost 6 games on the road. The other night, Steph had to go off at 47 to try to get his team, a victory. It's a slow start. I don't think this has anything to do with Draymond and Jordan Poole or anything like that. I just believe it was a slow start. I believe once I do this again in a couple weeks, I think the Warriors will be in there, be creeping up the playoff spot. The Sacramento Kings are at 3-6. Those Los Angeles Lakers are at 2-8. Wow, what are they going through in Los Angeles? That's insane. What they've been going through. Not more insane than the Brooklyn Nets, but still, it's insane that they got 3 pretty good talented players in Davis and James and Westbrook, and still can't do crap with that team. And number 15, of course, the Houston Rockets. So there you have it for the NBA. Now let's take a look back at what was a pretty good, in my opinion, World Series. So when I left you last week, the World Series was Phillies up 2-1, and we were going into Game 4 of the series. And Game 4 was a masterful performance by Christian Javier, going 6 innings, giving up no hits, and striking out 9. Brian Abreu came in, or Brian Abreu, excuse me, sounded like former White Sox manager Jerry Manuel. Brian Abreu, he came in, struck out the side with his 1 inning. Rafael Montero struck out one with his no inning, with his 1 inning, and then Brian Presley struck out one in his 1 inning to give the Houston Astros the second no-hitter in World Series history. Of course, Don Larson's perfect game being the first no-hitter, but a combined no-hitter for the Houston Astros in Game 4, I think really set this team on fire. Because in Game 5, Justin Verlander, he did his thing. He got his first World Series victory as a pitcher, and he has really bad luck apparently with where it's just like some stuff in his past and just not gone his way. At Game 1, I think he just, even you go back in Game 1, that was the boom, 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 home runs that they were hitting. So it just hadn't worked out for Justin Verlander in the past. But he got it. He got it in Game 5. He kept them in the game. Astros won 3-2, and then back when Saturday went back home to Game 6. Kyle Schwarber hit a home run in the top of the 6th inning, giving the Phillies a 1-0 lead. But then the Houston Astros came back in the bottom of the 6th and scored 4 runs, including a 450-foot bomb from Yordan Alvarez, which was absolutely incredible. So it's it was amazing to see that. it was just whop, and it just went straight to center field. Amazing. Probably one of the longest home runs in that ballpark. Uh, and then the bullpen came in and closed it down again, and Dusty Baker ends up getting his first ever World Series championship, the second World Series for the championship for the Houston Astros. Although some think that the first one was a little bit tainted because of the old cheating scandals, but you can't like take it away just like you can college things or anything like that. So, but he is a World Series champion is Dusty Baker, and I'm happy for him. I'm sad for Cal Schwarber because he's a former Cub, and he's having a great World Series. Probably going to be the MVP if they won, but I think Dusty Baker needed to get this one. You know, he really needed to get this one because who knows if he's going to come back. And now Dusty, at his age, he's over 70 years old. You know, he can probably now retire now. And because he probably was going to go to the Hall of Fame, but I think the winning the World Series cements it right now. So great World Series. Both the Phillies and Astros played their hearts out. You had to give them credit, and it was a fun one to watch. But Houston Astros end up becoming the 2022 World Series champions. So let's go ahead and let's talk about college football. Let's look at the a lot of help to be the first two lost team to get into the playoffs. Oregon at 8-1 is 6. Tennessee goes from number 1 to a pretty good team. So they can't be looking ahead to the game, Thanksgiving weekend. They need to be focused on Illinois this week. Today's action started with Ohio State beating Northwestern 21-7 in a crazy weather game where the winds were just swirling up in Evanston. Incredible. They would come out, take the victory 21-7. North Carolina beat Virginia 31-28. TCU got the Texas Tech 34-24. Again, a come from behind victory from TCU there. Tulane beat Tulsa 27-13. Tulane, the sixth team in the college football playoff rankings. UCF took out Michigan 35-28. Penn State beat Indiana 45-14. As we talked about, Georgia beat Tennessee 27-13, but that score does not really show you how much that really was, because it was amazing, absolutely amazing. It was a beat down of Georgia from Georgia to Tennessee. This is what we were talking about. Michigan State beat Illinois 23-15, but Illinois still, I think they had a mind slip But I think coming up against Michigan, that's going to be a very good game. Oregon beat Colorado 49-10. Other than that first week beatdown from Georgia, Oregon has been given beatdowns themselves. They need to stay in it with the opportunity of a chance to make the college football playoff. I know some people are thinking that they won't get in because of that beatdown of Georgia. They can win out and still not make it. But I think they have a great chance of making the college football playoff. I think that it might be a rematch of Georgia and Oregon. Liberty beat Arkansas 21-19. Texas beat Kansas State 34-27. LSU slipped by Alabama in overtime 32-31. Brian Kelly went for it went for it and went for two in overtime and is able to get the job done. Notre Dame beat Clemson 35-14. This was also another truly tremendous beatdown, a career-defining victory for Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame, proving that they can hang with the guys, and it really makes you, just sad that the losses to Marshall and Stanford at home, two teams that they should have obviously beat and maybe beat handily. If they had did that, where they would be right now, they would probably be ahead of TCU, I would bet. Michigan beat Rutgers 52-17. Florida State whooped on Miami Hurricanes 45-3. Utah beat Arizona 45-20. North Carolina State beat Wake Forest 30-21. USC get by California 41-35, and UCLA put a 50 burger up on Arizona State 50-36. Taking a look now at this upcoming week, week 11 in the college football landscape. USC takes on Colorado Friday night. That should be a really good game. Not, but it should give you some stuff to watch if you don't like all the other sisters on Friday night. Young Rock, gotta watch Young Rock, don't you? Or maybe you watch what Rock used to do in wrestling, the SmackDown. Usos, no New Day, gonna be a great match. Gotta be. Those two don't put on bad matches. Ohio State take on Indiana for the start of the Saturday slate. LSU and Arkansas. Um, Purdue is at Illinois. Notre Dame is at Navy. Tennessee hosts Missouri. Liberty hosts Connecticut. Goes to Connecticut. Excuse me. Clemson hosts Louisville. Boston College goes to NC State. Maryland is at Penn State. Nebraska is at Michigan. Alabama, Mississippi is probably the game of the week. 10 Alabama versus 11 Mississippi. Once again, you got Saban and Kiffin going head to head. UCF at Tulane. Georgia takes on Mississippi State. Washington is at Oregon. Kansas State is at Baylor. North Carolina is at Wake Forest. TCU is at Texas. That should be a good one as well. Florida State is at Syracuse. Stanford is at Utah. And Arizona is at UCLA. All righty then. And now, let's take a look ahead of the National Football League. And now to the National Football League. We go back to Thursday night football. The Eagles and the Texans, they were tied at halftime, but the Eagles showed who they are, showed their mettle, and they came out and allowed the Texans to only have one score as the Eagles beat the Texans 29-17. But now to Sunday's action. The Patriots beat the Colts 26-3, allowing the Colts to fire Frank Reich and hire on an interim basis Jeff Saturday. What? This is a guy that was doing coverage on ESPN. This was a guy that I think there's no coach experience whatsoever on the college or pro level. He coaches his kids' high school team, and that record is 20-16. So why would Jeff Saturday get the job? Well, it's all about relationships. He feels comfortable. By he, I mean the owner, Jim Acey, feels comfortable with Jeff Saturday. And that's why he went with him. I hope this is not a thing where he wants Jeff Saturday to snitch on everybody, all the coaches and the players, snitch to him, Jim Irsay, and I hope Jeff Saturday, and if that's why Jim Irsay did hire Jeff Saturday, I hope Jeff Saturday doesn't do that, because that would be totally uncool, and he would lose a lot of respect from not only those players and those coaches on that staff, but the people back at ESPN who have been very, very abusive of praise. They have put on to Jeff Saturday, and when talking about the optics of how this looks, and with the Rooney Rule, and something like that, and again how you just kind of go for another white person who has no experience, um, or things like that. But I think, yeah, that's but they've been very easy to say that it's not because of Jeff. This is on Jim Irsay, and so I don't want them to start to lose respect for Jeff Saturday. I think that would be a shame. But yeah, after the drubbing, the Patriots get the coach, and he's now interim coach, and we'll see what goes on from there. In other places, the Packers keep sucking, and as a Bears fan, that's awesome. The Lions beat the Packers 15-9. And Rodgers has thrown the most interceptions he has in a long time. Usually you see he throws 4 or 5 interceptions, but he's thrown 7 this year, and he did 3 last year in one game. So that's incredible. Um, the Chargers beat the Falcons 20-7 in one of the rarities in NFL history for the first time in over almost 56 some odd years. 4 games ended with the same exact score. The Chargers and the Falcons ended up 20-17. The Jets beat the Bills 20-17. We're going to come back to Josh Allen in a second. The Vikings beat the Commanders 20-17. And the Chiefs beat the Titans 20-17. Back up to the Jets and the Bills. In that game, in those final moments, um, Josh Allen was going for a throw. His arm was hit, and it has damaged his UCL. And he has some damage in UCL, some nerves. We still don't know what's going to happen. The UCL is the ligament that pitchers have to repair for Tommy John. Um, but throwing a football and throwing a baseball are two different things. Some people said that this is not something that he might not need Tommy John surgery on. This may just be some things we still have not heard from, you know, the Bills camp, whether or not what he'll need to do. Can he sit down or anything like that? But the Bills run on Josh Allen, and Case Keenum is a capable backup, and he could keep the rig on the road. I think one of the things for the Buffalo Bills need to be able to do to go to the Super Bowl is have that home field advantage, and he beat the Chiefs, and and who knows if the Chiefs are going to lose again. And to have that home field advantage over the Chiefs, where the Chiefs have to come in there and listen. They play in Kansas City. They play in the cold weather. That's not going to affect them. But Bills Mafia could affect them. Bill, what they do on the road could affect them. That artificial field turf could affect them. Anything can happen up there, and I would give most of it to being for the Bills and their defense and their offense. And if Josh Allen is not there to do so, I don't think the Bills have a chance in this conference. So I'm wishing well for Josh Allen. I'm wishing well for I'm wishing well for a lot of things that happen right now. So I'm just hoping Josh Allen is okay. Skipping to the Vikings, the Commanders, we talked about them having one of those 2017 games. Kirk Cousins really seems to be, balling out, and every time on the plane, they give him change, and he's doing work, and so you have to give it up to Kirk Cousins. Y'all, Kirk Cousins haters out there, he's doing well, and he is leading his team to a great record so far, and I think that's going to continue. Actually, I think the Vikings and the Bills play next week. We will find out shortly. Um, But on to the other games. Bengals beat the Panthers 42-21. Joe Mixon had 5 touchdowns, 4 rushing, 1 receiving. An incredible day for Joe Mixon. The Jaguars beat the Raiders 2017. The third time this season the Raiders had given up a lead of 17 points or more. It's just insane what's going on in Las Vegas, excuse me. And looks bad on Josh McDaniels. You have to wonder if they shouldn't have just kept Rich Bisaccia there and just stayed with that. But Al Davis, he didn't. Mark Davis is like his father Al. He wanted the big name splash, and he wouldn't get Josh McDaniels, and it may not have been the right one to get. Maybe Josh McDaniels should have stayed in New England. Maybe he should have accepted it and then declined it like he did in Indianapolis. The Dolphins beat the Bears 35-32 in a very exciting game. Back and forth action with those two. Some defensive pass interference penalties, one that was called and one that wasn't called, that should have gone the other way. Probably should have gone the other way. Justin Fields um, set the record for quarterback rushing yards in the game, 178, threw 3 touchdowns. But he was 17 of 28 for 127 yards. I'm sorry, as a Bears fan, everybody's talking about he's the guy, he's the guy. Well, is he the guy? If he's the guy, I think he would be. He would look like more like Tua. Tua was like 21 of 30 for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's that's what your quarterback should be looking like, not this right here. Now I understand you do what you have to do to win games, but still, I would rather have my quarterback have Tua be like Tua than be like Justin Fields. Because all it means is going to be is that he's not going to focus on throwing. He's just going to continue to try to use his legs to do everything, just like Lamar Jackson, and he's not going to get better from the pocket passing the ball. So I think Bears fans need to stop with Justin Fields is the guy. He's our guy. We don't know that yet. We don't know that yet. I'm not saying he's not the guy. I'm not saying he is the guy. We just don't know that yet. I guess we'll find out next year for sure. We'll find out next year for sure if he is the guy or he isn't the guy. Seattle Seahawks beat the Arizona Cardinals 31-21. Another victory for Seattle and another victory for Geno Smith playing another exceptional game. The Buccaneers beat the Rams 16-13. Rams, the Super Bowl hangover is real, y'all. You sure want to win it, but you ain't gonna do nothing next year. It seems like Buccaneers trying to get back into that division with the Falcons loss, and then their win. They're up atop the division with the Falcons. Probably in the lead since they won the Falcons game a couple weeks ago. Again, Chiefs and Titans 20-17 that game. Um, Patrick Mahomes over 68 passes thrown, 44 completions, 400 yards. Incredible. You don't need to run when you have Patrick Mahomes. And Monday night, the Ravens beat the Saints 27-13. As we look ahead to Week 10, the Falcons and the Panthers play tomorrow night on Amazon Prime, of course. And then Sunday morning at 9:30, and from Germany, the Buccaneers takes on the Seattle Seahawks. That should be a very interesting game. It's a big test, I think, for Seattle, and maybe even a bigger test for Tampa Bay. We go now starting with the 1 o'clock/12 Central action. Lions and the Bears uh, should be an interesting one. But right now, the Bears offense is doing well. The Lions defense has not played well. The offense has sputtered. So we'll see what that. But then you did have this 13-9 victory over the Packers that is probably insane. So we'll look at that. The Browns are at the Dolphins. The Dolphins looking to keep it continued. Browns coming off their bye. Titans at the Broncos. Broncos off their bye. Titans trying to regain from that loss to the Chiefs. Vikings, Bills. Should be very interesting. See if Josh Allen plays or not. See if the Vikings can go into Buffalo and and do some damage, or if what happens there. This is like a good test to actually see Vikings a very good team going into a hostile environment. See what happens with teams from the AFC. What they're gonna do. Texans are at the Giants. Giants coming off their bye. They want to get back on track and roll because they lost to the Seahawks before their bye, so they want to try to get back on track, stay in the playoff hunt. Chiefs hosting the Jaguars. What could be a great could be a matchup for years to come. Trevor Lawrence and Patrick Mahomes. We're getting one this year, so that's cool. The Saints are at the Steelers. The Colts at the Raiders have Jeff Saturday's first game, and this is probably maybe a make it break game for the Raiders this year. Look, are you going to give up a lead to the Colts, or are you going to maintain that lead and really put the Colts out of commission early and often? The Rams are hosting the Cardinals. This is probably the Rams' last chance. They need to go on a win streak, try to get themselves back in wild card position. I don't know if they'll be able to get back into the top of the division. I think that's pretty much Seattle or 49ers at this point. And the Cardinals are just the Cardinals. I think with the head coach firings so far, I think Cliff Kingsbury's is next, and you just don't know if it's going to happen after a game or it's going to end the season. But I think Cliff Kingsbury is gone, and they might want to think about getting rid of Kyler Murray too, because Kyler Murray I think is only going to be a good quarterback in that type of system. Unless you want to get somebody else who runs an air raid type system, then that's what you need to do. The Cowboys at the Packers. That should be an interesting one. The Chargers at 49ers on Sunday Night Football. That's going to be good, I think. 49ers off of their bye. And then the Chargers just off of that great win in the come from behind win against Atlanta. So they're going to be smoking. And then you got the Washington Commanders and the Eagles. Washington Commanders playing a lot better under the tutelage of Taylor Heineke at quarterback. And the Eagles, kind of this extra mini bye from the Thursday night game. But this should be really much a dominant performance by the Eagles. But we'll have to wait and see, because who would have expected the Jets to beat the Bills, and who would have, had, the Lions beating the Packers last week. So we'll have to wait and see what is the deal. But that's it for the NFL. All right, y'all. That is it for this week's episode of The Game According to Me. Thank you guys so much for listening. Again, if you feel like supporting this podcast and this creator, please go to patreon.com/AJTRIP, become a patron. Once I hit a certain amount of patrons, you will be able to determine what you see on my YouTube channel, AJTRIP, what you will hear when we talk about on the other podcast, The Word According to Me, and what video games I would play on my Twitch channel. They have to be games that I have, unless you buy me one. So yeah, that is what is going to be. Also, you can support me, anchor.fm/Andre Show. They have ways to support me as well. 99 cents a month, $4.99 a month, or $9.99 a month. Or the non-monetarily way to support me is just to continue to like these podcasts, to rate these podcasts, to share these podcasts on all your social media platforms. Any of those means so much to help me out a lot. Thank you guys again for listening. This is your boy, AJTRIP, signing off. As always, be good to each other, y'all. Be careful out there. And I am out.